Good morning, dear listeners. Welcome once again to English Vault, the channel where stories inspire you and words help you grow. Today, I am here to present a very simple but powerful topic, my favorite hobby. You may already know this topic because it is often given to school children, college students, and even in English learning classes. But today, we will not just talk about it for a few minutes. Instead, we will explore it deeply, step by step, like a story, so you can enjoy it, learn from it, and at the same time, improve your English listening and speaking skills. So are you ready? Let's begin. Before I talk about my favorite hobby, let us first understand what a hobby actually means. A hobby is something you do for pleasure, not because you have to, but because you love to. It is not a duty. It is not homework. It is not a job. It is something that makes you happy, relaxes your mind, and gives meaning to your free time. Some people love gardening. Some people love painting. Some people love singing or dancing, or even collecting stamps. Every person may have a different hobby, and that is the beauty of it. Hobbies show who we are, deep inside. Now let me share with you my favorite hobby. My favorite hobby is reading books. Yes, I love reading. I love opening a book and diving into its pages. To me, every book is like a new world waiting to be discovered. Some people travel with cars, trains, or airplanes, but I travel with books. Books are my windows to the world. Through them, I can travel to the mountains of Nepal, the deserts of Africa, the cities of Europe, and even the stars in space without leaving my chair. When I read, I feel like I am living 1,000 lives in one lifetime. There are many hobbies I could have chosen. I could have played football. I could have gone swimming. I could have learned a musical instrument. But reading attracted me more than anything else. Why? Let me explain. When I was a child, I was very curious. I used to ask so many questions. Why is the sky blue? Why do stars shine at night? Why do people behave differently? How does the world work? My parents and teachers tried to answer me, but they could not answer everything. So I turned to books. And guess what? Books became my teachers. They gave me answers. They gave me wisdom. And they gave me stories that filled my imagination with hope. That is why I chose reading as my hobby. Let me tell you how it all began. One day when I was about 7 years old, my father brought me a small storybook. It was about a little bird who was afraid to fly. I read it again and again, and each time I learned something new. The story taught me courage. It told me that even small wings can fly high if you try. From that day, I fell in love with books. First, I read storybooks with pictures. Then I read fairy tales, fables, and adventures. Slowly, I started reading novels, biographies, and motivational books. Step by step, my hobby grew. It became not just a hobby, but a habit, and then a passion. Now let me share with you the joys I find in reading. When I read, I feel calm. The noise of the world disappears. My mind becomes silent. I enter into another world where only the story matters. Reading gives me relaxation. It reduces stress. Knowledge. It teaches me things I never knew. Imagination. It helps me dream bigger. Confidence. It makes me speak and think better. For me, books are like friends. And the best part is, they never leave you. I don't read only one type of book. I explore many categories. Let me share them with you. Number 1, motivational books. They inspire me to work harder, to never give up, to rise after failure. Number 2, biographies. Stories of great people like Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, or APJ Abdul Kalam. They show me that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Number 3, novels, fiction stories that take me into imaginary worlds. Sometimes I cry with the characters. Sometimes I laugh with them. Number 4, history books. They tell me where we came from and how civilizations grew. Number 5, self-improvement books. They teach me discipline, focus, and the power of patience. Each type of book gives me a different flavor of life, just like different dishes give us different tastes. Now let me connect this hobby with something very important for all of us: English learning. I know many of you are here because you want to learn English. And let me tell you, reading is one of the best hobbies for that. Why? Because reading books improves vocabulary, improves grammar, improves sentence structure, improves pronunciation. When you read aloud, improves thinking in English. When you read English books, your mind gets used to English words. You don't just study English, you live it. That is why I always tell English learners, make reading your hobby. Reading is not just about entertainment. It is also about learning values. Let me share a few life lessons I learned from my hobby. Patience. Books teach me to wait and enjoy the journey, page by page. Courage. Stories of brave heroes remind me not to give up. Hope. Even after dark nights, there is always a sunrise. Empathy. By reading other people's stories, I understand their struggles. Discipline. To read every day, I need to manage my time. So my hobby is not just a free time activity. It is a life coach. You might ask, how do you manage time for reading? Well, I try to read at least 30 minutes every day. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes before sleeping. Even if I am busy, I carry a small book in my bag. When I am waiting for a bus or standing in a queue, I read a few pages. Slowly, those few pages become chapters, and those chapters become books. This small habit has built a big treasure of knowledge in my life. Of course, every hobby has challenges. Reading is not always easy. Sometimes books are too difficult. Sometimes I feel sleepy. Sometimes I don't understand a word. But instead of giving up, I keep trying. I underline difficult words, check the dictionary, and read again. Challenges are part of the journey, and overcoming them makes the hobby more meaningful. Now let me step aside from my hobby and talk about hobbies in general. I believe every person should have a hobby. Why? Because hobbies make life colorful, reduce stress, keep the mind active, teach discipline, make us creative. Without hobbies, life becomes mechanical, like a robot. But with hobbies, life becomes joyful, like a melody. Dear friends, if you don't have a hobby yet, I encourage you find one. It can be anything: writing, drawing, singing, gardening, or even cooking. And if you already have a hobby, practice it daily. Make it part of your lifestyle. A hobby is not a waste of time. It is an investment in yourself. It makes you better, smarter, and happier. Remember, success is not only about money or fame. It is also about peace of mind and joy of living. And hobbies give us that joy. So today I shared with you my favorite hobby, reading books. I told you why I chose it, how I started, what I enjoy, and what lessons I learned. I hope this presentation has not only helped you in English practice, but also inspired you to think about your own hobbies. Before I close, let me give you one last thought. A person who reads lives 1,000 lives before he dies. A person who never reads lives only one. So pick up a book, open the first page, and let your journey begin. Thank you so much for listening. This is English Vault, reminding you, keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining.